Hey there, AK here. This is my review of the OPPO Reno4 Pro. Wait, I'm recording on it right now. Jokes aside, let's get straight to the review. This device will cost you 899 Sing dollars, and that is the model with 256 gigs of storage as well as 8 gigs of RAM. If you watched my unboxing video, you'll recall that I said that this thing felt a little like plastic on the back, and after checking with OPPO, that is indeed true. The back is made out of plastic. That means that it doesn't feel as premium as other devices that are using glass and metal, but it also meant that this device is a lot lighter than those. So if you compare it with like my Vivo Net 3, the difference in weight is actually very significant. And with the casing on, you can't really tell. All you can tell is that this device is really light. One of the key selling points of this device is the 90Hz AMOLED display in front. Basically what 90Hz means is that it has a higher refresh rate than regular devices, and that means things should look smoother when you scroll. But to the average consumer like me and you, it doesn't really make a difference. What is more exciting to me is this curved display, which makes it really nice to hold, and this is normally something that you will find on more expensive devices. With a case on the back, this will feel just like a $1,000 flagship device. The OPPO Reno4 Pro is powered by the Snapdragon 720G processor, which is Qualcomm's upper mid-range series, and that means that while you're not getting the flagship grade performance, it is definitely really powerful and should be more than enough for OPPO's target audience. I played a couple of rounds of Call of Duty Mobile and I had no issues with it at all. The only thing I would change for a better gaming experience is that plastic screen protector included in the box. If you are going to get a glass one though, do take note that it will cost a lot more because this is a curved display. Now, let's talk about cameras. The OPPO Reno4 Pro has a quad camera setup on the rear, but to be honest, it feels like a dual camera setup with two additional sensors that aren't really that useful. I'll talk more about this later. But first, let's talk about the main 48 megapixel camera. In bright daylight, photos turn out really good, as you may expect from most phones these days. Even though it doesn't have optical zoom, the 10x digital zoom is still very capable of producing some very usable images. As the sun sets though, that is when the photo quality starts to dip. There is a night mode, and while it does bring up the brightness quite a bit, photos are smudgy, lacking a lot of details, and I would say they aren't really that usable. Next is the 8 megapixel ultra wide camera, located right on top of the main camera. I don't really have any issues with this camera, it's pretty good, but I don't really understand why OPPO can't make it such that we can slide the zoom slider to get to this ultra wide camera. There isn't a smooth transition in between, and you have to tap on the icon in order to change. And now, let's talk about the remaining two cameras, which are both 2 megapixels each. One of them is supposed to be a macro camera, but from what I see, it's more like an assistant to the main camera that allows it to take macro shots. However, it doesn't really do much. So I did some tests by covering it up, and I really couldn't tell the difference between having it and having it blocked. OPPO calls the last camera a mono camera, while GSM Arena says that it's a depth sensor. But after covering it up and testing out a whole tons of things, I really couldn't figure out what it is for. And that is why I would say that this is more of a dual camera setup rather than a quad camera setup. The rear camera has something new called the Ultra Steady Pro, which I shall demonstrate now by running. How's the video? Is it steady? For comparison, this part is recorded without Ultra Steady. How is it? The rear cameras are also capable of taking these really cool videos, where it filters out all colors except for a specified one, which is red, green, or blue. Lastly, we have a 32 megapixel selfie camera on the front, which is what I'm recording with right now. This is also the camera responsible for the footages that you've seen earlier that are non-wide angle, and you can see the quality is actually really good. Battery life is superb on the OPPO Reno4 Pro. With moderate to intensive usage, I was able to drain it down to 30% by the end of the day, and that included some gaming, a lot of video consumption, social media, as well as music consumption. I've now drained the OPPO Reno4 Pro to 2% battery. Let's see how fast it charges with the included charger.
Super
Okay, my bad. I accidentally deleted the rest of the footage, thinking that it was a clone of the original. Oops. But the device was able to get to 100%, just a little bit past the 30 minimarks, which you can see from this photo that I took right after it turned from 99% to 100%. How did it charge so fast? SuperVOOC 2.0 is magic. With the OPPO Reno4 Pro, it seems like OPPO is bringing the Reno series in a new direction. Previous Reno series models, as well as the predecessor, the R series, tend to place a lot of focus on build quality as well as cameras, sometimes neglecting the battery life. However, this time round, OPPO focused more on the practical and functional side of things, and that is why OPPO opted to go for a plastic body instead of a metal or glass one. While it feels less premium in the hand, it's a lot lighter, and that is something that users will be able to tell with and without a case. Should you buy the OPPO Reno4 Pro? If you take lots of photos, I wouldn't recommend it. But for most users, if you just take a photo or two just for Instagram, it is a pretty good device and you will really enjoy using it. So that is it for my OPPO Reno4 Pro review. See you next time.